Here's a question. Who's responsible for our health? Whose responsibility is your health? Yours? The doctors? The government's? Or perhaps all three? We know what we're supposed to do. Eat well, exercise, get enough sleep, don't spend all day sitting down. Yet modern life seems designed to make many of these things surprisingly difficult. We work at desks. We spend hours looking at screens. Highly processed food is everywhere. It's ubiquitous. And we're often too busy to exercise. So here's today's IELTS question. Are people responsible for their own health, or should governments do more to keep us healthy? So the easy answer, well, imagine the examiner asks, what can people do to stay healthy? You could say they should eat healthy food and do more exercise. Perfectly understandable. But let's develop it. People can maintain good health by following a balanced diet and engaging in regular physical activity. Notice the difference. Stay healthy becomes maintain good health. Do exercise becomes engage in regular physical activity. And eat healthy food becomes follow a balanced diet. These aren't simply longer expressions, they're natural collocations, combinations of words that work well together. And that's exactly what you want in IELTS. So here's the problem. Knowing what is healthy doesn't necessarily mean we live healthily. Modern lifestyles can make this difficult. Many people have demanding work schedules. They spend much of the day sitting at a desk. They use computers for work and smartphones for almost everything else. This can lead to sedentary lifestyles. A sedentary lifestyle is one in which you spend a lot of time sitting or doing very little physical activity. And then there's food. Highly processed food is often convenient and cheap. It's easy, it's widely available, and sometimes it's cheaper than healthier alternatives. So we have an interesting situation. People may be more aware of the importance of nutrition and exercise while simultaneously finding it increasingly difficult to adopt healthier habits. That's a much more interesting argument than simply saying people are unhealthy because they're lazy. One argument that people should take responsibility for their own health. After all, individuals decide what they eat. They decide whether to exercise. They decide how much time they spend sitting in front of a screen. And they can make informed choices. That's a useful IELTS expression. An informed choice is a decision based on knowledge and information. So instead of saying people should make better choices, you could say individuals should be encouraged to make informed choices about their diet and exercise routines. Much better. And you can develop this argument. After all, individuals are ultimately responsible for their own daily habits. But there's another side. Can individuals really do it alone? Well, imagine you live in an area with no sports facilities, like I do. There are no safe cycle paths. Public spaces aren't particularly attractive. Healthy food is expensive, and unhealthy food is heavily advertised. Can we really say it's entirely your responsibility? This is where governments come into the argument. They can improve access to sports facilities. They can improve health education. They can regulate unhealthy food advertising. They can create environments that make healthier choices easier. And that's a really useful phrase here. Create an environment that encourages something. For example, Governments should create environments that encourage healthier lifestyles. Notice the difference between telling people to be healthy and making healthy choices easier. That distinction gives you something substantial to discuss in IELTS. Now, don't turn your answer into a lecture. There's another useful IELTS technique here. Avoid making your argument too absolute. Don't say everyone can be healthy if they exercise. That's very difficult to defend. Instead, although individuals have a significant degree of responsibility for their own health, external factors can also influence their ability to maintain a healthy lifestyle. That's much more sophisticated. And notice the structure. Although X, Y. You're acknowledging one side before introducing another. Then you can give an example. For example, people working long hours may find it difficult to exercise regularly, even if they understand the importance of physical activity. Now you've got argument, qualification, and example. That's the kind of development you want. Now, here's a writing question. Task 2. Some people believe that individuals are responsible for their own health, while others think that governments should take more responsibility for improving public health. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. Okay, let's build it. Individual responsibility. People should make informed choices, follow a healthy diet, exercise regularly, reduce excessive screen time. Government responsibility. Authorities can promote health education, improve access to sports facilities, regulate unhealthy food advertising. And then your opinion. And here's one possible position. From my perspective, improving public health requires a combination of individual responsibility and government action. That's almost exactly the central argument of a higher level answer, yeah? And there's a particularly useful word here, cooperation. Long-term improvements in public well-being require cooperation between individuals, communities, and governments. We're no longer simply talking about going to the gym, we're talking about public health. That's the level shift. Expressions worth stealing. Let's take 5 useful IELTS chunks from today's topic. Maintain good health. Regular exercise can help people maintain good health. Sedentary lifestyle. Modern employment has contributed to increasingly sedentary lifestyles. Lifestyle-related diseases. Poor diets can contribute to lifestyle-related diseases. Make informed choices. People should be encouraged to make informed choices. And public well-being. Governments have a responsibility to protect public well-being. These expressions let you move from people are unhealthy because they don't exercise to something much more precise. Sedentary lifestyles and poor diets can contribute to lifestyle-related diseases, which means governments and individuals both have a role to play in protecting public well-being. That's a very different level of English. So, who's responsible for your health? You, your employer, the food industry, schools, the government? Perhaps the real answer is that personal responsibility becomes much easier when society makes healthy choices realistic and accessible. But that raises another interesting question. Should governments really want people to be healthier? Well, they should. And if they do, should they be allowed to tell us what we can eat and what we can drink? And that's where health stops becoming a question of fitness it becomes a question of freedom, responsibility, and government intervention. And that is a much harder IELTS argument.